Hello everyone, I hope you're safe and sound at home. I am Vitasta, your host for our new series Between the Lines, and I'm back with the second episode where we speak to the destination veterans and understand their thought process on the changing scenarios of the travel industry. If you have already not subscribed to our channel, do that because we bring you the latest trend in the travel industry at a lightning speed. So, moving on, our guest for the evening is Ms. Sthembiso Dlamini. She is the Chief Operations Officer and Acting CEO, South Africa Tourism. She also ensures compliance with the Public Finance Management Act and all other legislations affecting South Africa tourism. Welcome to the show, Sthembiso. It's a pleasure having you. How have you been?
I'm well, thanks. And how are you? Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. How has your pandemic been treating you?
I think all of us have found ways to actually cope with the pandemic. Unfortunately, I can't say so to our tourism businesses and tourism products and experiences and attractions. We do know that they really have been struggling for the past 20 months. But there is light at the end of the tunnel with most of the economies and most of the countries having put plans in place to actually curb the spread of the pandemic and trying to just find ways to protect its citizens or their own citizens, from this devastating pandemic.
But the good thing is that travel is opening up now. So
absolutely, and I think that's what excites us as South African tourism, because if you look at our key source markets, we have seen travel starting to open up, but most importantly, we have seen a lot of our key source markets opening up for their citizens to start traveling overseas. And South Africa is one of the countries or the destinations that is put in the consideration set of so many travelers, particularly in our key source markets. So really that excites us. But the other thing that we've seen is that we've seen major airlines starting to consider, flying into South Africa, which is a huge confidence boost for our destination. It simply means that we do have airlift capacity, though obviously airlift capacity can never be, enough. But at least the fact that you've got big airlines, big names in the aviation industry, considering South Africa as a viable route, that also gives us that comfort and that hope that we will indeed be seeing, recovery in the travel and tourism space.
Yeah. So without any further ado, I'll just start with my first question. So my first question to you would be, what is South Africa tourism doing to support small and medium and micro enterprises, since we all know that how much these businesses have been affected by the pandemic?
I think I would like to just position your question this way. Any successful economy is anchored by participation of small business in the formal economy. And that actually, is a testament to what South African tourism has done over the past couple of years, wherein we've identified these, small businesses, SMEs as we call them, and we have done everything in our space to ensure that these SMEs are trained, they are being readied, to start trading. But most importantly, we know that you can train them. At the end of the day, you need to actually give business to the small businesses. So one of the key focus areas of South African tourism is to actually facilitate for market access. And I mean, a virtual roadshow such as this is actually a market access facilitation platform, wherein we take our SMEs, we introduce them to buyers, in India. And the buyers in India are actually the ones that help us to sell the destination. If we don't do this facilitation, our SMEs will not be able to survive. So, for example, this roadshow as well has a specific focus on SMEs, but also has got a specific focus on new products that we've identified during this pandemic to say, here are the new products that exist in the destination, but the Indian traveler has not been exposed to it. But most importantly, the Indian trade market, Indian trade has never been exposed to these new products. So the India virtual roadshow begin to, create those kind of platforms, for SMEs, but also for these new products that ordinarily would not have been seen, during the course of doing business.
That's true. And
since you mentioned that you've been doing a lot for the businesses, I want to know what initiatives, what travel initiatives will be followed by South Africa that might encourage more travelers to visit the country.
Look, the first thing before we start with the initiative, I think I need to mention that we all have been off the radar, not completely, but we've been off the radar for like almost 2 years. So it's important for us to reintroduce our brand as South Africa. And in introducing that brand, we want to say, this is how we want the world to start, looking at us. And I think that work is going to be very important. And this work would obviously span across the trade partners or the channel players together with obviously consumers. We want to reignite our brand. We want to be top of mind for both consumers and the channel. That's one. But the second thing is there's nothing, we can't sit here and talk about the recovery of travel and not sell. So the most important thing is we've got to sell travel. And a virtual roadshow such as this begins to give us that platform where product and buyers can meet and actually start negotiating prices and start putting packages together and start selling. So the most important thing that we'll be doing in the next couple of months is we are going to sell South Africa. We are going to partner with trade and with product to put packages that are talks to what the Indian traveler is looking for, so that they can begin to buy. So it's one thing to say, here's our brand, this is who we are. If somebody says, I like that, I would like to experience that, they need to know where to go. They need to know who to contact. They need to know the button to click so that they can buy. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing.
It's always good to be more informative about a destination than being hideous.
Absolutely. So we can talk all we want, but the key issue for me is we've got to start selling. We've got to start promoting our destination. We've got to put those packages. We've got to put those price points. And we've got to put packages in such a way that people traveling with families, they can actually see something for them. People who decide, they want to do solo travel, they can do that. People who decide, we're going to travel as friends. Absolutely. So it's about going back to doing business. Let's stop just romanticizing about the COVID. It is here. We have found ways to actually manage the pandemic. The most important thing is let's get back to business. Let's sell the destination. Yes. And also, if you look at our offering as a destination, we offer both leisure and MICE. So we've got infrastructure to actually host big conventions. We've got infrastructure to host incentive, groups, and just corporate meetings as well as exhibitions. So here, I think this platform begins to give us that opportunity to start reintroducing ourselves as a destination, to say, hey, don't forget about us, incentive travelers. We've got the offering for you. Big conventions, we've got offerings for you. Big corporate meetings, we've got the infrastructure to support that. So that's where we're focusing as South African tourism, as we drive the sector to recover to its former glory.
What new marketing efforts and I don't only mean the normal traditional marketing, I mean the digital marketing, has been South Africa Tourism Board planning to do to revive tourism in South Africa?
Look, you would agree with me that the COVID pandemic, what it has done is that it has accelerated the use of digital and technology across the board.
Absolutely.
By the way, it's not just on the tourism sector alone. If you look at other sectors, I mean, if there's an acceleration of the use of technology in just things like sectors like agriculture, then that everybody has now pivoted, has now looked at this pandemic and say, we're in a crisis. How do we get ourselves out of of the crisis? So similarly to us as the tourism board, as South African Tourism Board, what we've done is we've looked at what is our digital transformation agenda that would start informing how we market. So we know that consumers have become so digitally savvy. And the fact that everybody has now been locked in, I mean, a lot of us have been in, on lockdown and sitting in our houses. The only thing that actually kept us sane is actually the technology, because we could connect with people, we could talk to people using technology. So that's one of the critical areas that we're going to look at. How do we look at our digital marketing efforts But the other thing about digital marketing, what it does, it allows you to have targeted efforts. It allows you to talk directly to the consumer because you begin to learn what the consumer is looking for as an individual, by the way. It's not in one size fits all or spray and pray. It's so you begin to understand what is Tay as a traveler looking for, searching for, and you now begin to feed that particular content and information to Tay about South Africa, about what to do, about experiences, about other information that they would now require to travel to South Africa. So definitely the issue of digital has been on the radar for us for quite some time, and I think we're ready to actually start implementing digital marketing strategies to ensure that we've got targeted messaging and selling strategies to ensure that people can now start booking and travel to South Africa and come in and enjoy this beautiful country of ours.
Sure, you'll do a brilliant job there. There are no doubts in it. So obviously you work very closely with the government. What will be your overall expectation from the tourism industry over the next year? What do you expect for the tourism industry to do for South Africa?
Okay, so the status is that in South Africa, tourism plays a huge role in contributing to the overall economy of the country. In pre-COVID, we had the tourism industry contributing to about almost 4%, to the GDP. That's direct and indirectly about 9%, 3% directly and 9% indirect. But the other thing is that the tourism industry contributes hugely to the employment, of young people, in the country. So pre-COVID, we had the industry supporting directly about 700,000 jobs and 1.5 million indirectly, indirect jobs, supported by the industry. So you can clearly see that it was now the trajectory of tourism as a lever for economic growth was going there. Unfortunately, there was a COVID pandemic. And the expectations from the tourism industry is that with governments opening up, travel, international travel, we're going to start seeing obviously recovery in all sectors of the tourism sector. So the subsectors of the tourism sector, which simply means that we're going to now start seeing jobs slowly, starting to come back. Definitely from where we're sitting, we're seeing a lot of tourism companies now calling for people to apply to come back into the formal employment with their companies, which is a good thing. But secondly, we're expecting that subsectors of the tourism sector are going to see this recovery. So meaning transport, accommodation, experiences, see demand for those products. And if there's demand, it certainly means that from a revenue point of view, people are, these businesses will start to generate that revenue that would in turn fit into the economy. So those are some of the things that we're expecting in the industry. However, as an industry, to actually get to that, we've got to ensure that we are ready to receive visitors. We are ready to receive visitors from a point of view of implementing COVID-19 protocols, which are aligned to the world standards. That is going to be important. So as a destination, what we've done, working together with the private sector and product, we have developed what we call norms and standards. Norms and standards basically gives us those standards that the tourism industry have got to adhere to ensure that when travelers come into our destination, they feel comfortable, they certainly feel safe, and they're actually protected, they're protected from the spread of, COVID-19. But most importantly, which is my last point, is that it's also important to mention that citizens of South Africans themselves have now gotten used to the new ways of, the new way of living, which is putting on our masks, sanitizing and washing our hands quite regularly, and social distancing. And that will go a long way in ensuring that travelers have got the confidence, in our destination. And they know that as citizens as well, we've now adopted these new ways of working. So if you walk around, on the streets or in a public area, you've got to have your mask on, and that is regulated. So those are some of the things that we've been doing from a destination point of view to ensure that we ready ourselves to receive, Indian travelers or travelers across the globe, by the way.
Yeah. So, since you're talking about receiving travelers and being ready for them, my question to you would be: what are the global travel industry trends uh, and their implications on the traveler to South Africa? What have their implications been, and what do you think are the industry travel trends?
Okay. So one of the, I always start with what, it's not industry per se. I always start with what is the consumer looking for? What does this new consumer, new traveler, it look like? How do they look like? And what is it that they're looking for? And I always actually put my own lens as a traveler to say, if I had to pack my bags now and say I'm looking for a destination to go to, firstly, I would like to know, am I able, when I go to this destination, am I going to be safe? So we've seen a heightened, an alert in terms of, personal safety. And so safety and security from a health and safety point of view because of the COVID pandemic. You want to know that you're going into a destination where the citizens are vaccinated. So the vaccine rollout program for that particular destination has advanced. But secondly, if you're a leisure tourism or a MICE traveler or business traveler, you want to know whether the product in which you are visiting, so the product that you're visiting, have they done enough to ensure that you are safe, you will be safe as a traveler? So we're seeing that kind of behavior emerging. Even those who are searching for travel to South Africa, well, some of the things that are asking, which products have put together, COVID-19 protocols. Have they now, made sure that their staff is trained to deal with, COVID-19, protocols? So that's the first thing that we're seeing. And because of the pandemic, a lot of people are looking for open, wide spaces. Why? Because it's easy for ventilation. You and I know that we've got to actually, be in environments where there's just free flow or ventilation. So we've seen a lot of interest in outdoor, activities. And people are saying, I want to actually go where it's wide open spaces. I can be free, and knowing very well that there is there's a minimal chances of actually transmitting, or from catching COVID. So we're seeing that. But I think more fundamentally is that a lot of travelers are looking to travel to destinations that are going to give them authentic experiences. So previously you'd have a bucket list, people saying, I want to go and see these iconic places. So gone are the days where people travel just for iconic places only. They want to experience the destination. They want to feel, they want to smell the destination. They want to interact with locals. So we're seeing a lot of, travelers saying, I want to actually do what South Africans are doing. I don't want, curated, experiences just for tourists. I want to actually go where locals are going. And that's why, as a destination, we said, let's reignite our brand. Let's show the world who we are. Let's show the world how our people live, so that, it begins to entice, travelers to come and share the experiences and other, a lot of experiences that we have as a destination. So we're seeing those kind of trends happening. So the whole issue around sustainable tourism is there, where people want to know, what is the benefit of the community? If I actually travel to South Africa, how will the community benefit from my travel? So you're seeing a lot of people starting to be conscious about their role in just making the world a better place, right? And the other thing is the whole issue around responsible tourism. So they want to understand that what is our energy plans are. Are we sustainable in terms of our wildlife? Are we doing sustainable practices? So those are some of the trends that are really, really emerging, particularly from our key source markets, from the travelers from our key source markets, including India.
That's very thoughtful and insightful. Okay, so my last question to you would be, it's a very inspiring question for me personally, and I ask this to a lot of my guests because I love to get insights on this particular thought. So what my question is that, In what spheres of the travel industry do you think young leaders or aspirants can bring a change? What are the tips for them?
So I think travel and tourism as a sector is really a catalyst for social cohesion. That much I believe. And the reason I believe that is because travel and tourism as a sector is a people to people kind of a sector. So you interact. You don't interact with the machine. You actually get to live the other person's life. You actually get to see their story through their lens. So that's why I'm saying it's a greater tool to actually push for social cohesion, but also for inclusive, for just having that inclusive outlook, because you can never look at someone that you're meeting for the first time. I have been to India. I was blessed to just get an opportunity to be in Mumbai. I looked at the city and I said, gosh, this city is alive. I interacted with people, but my life has never been the same, ever since I've been to Mumbai. So if somebody has got a perception about India, I'm able to actually assist to change that perception by the fact that I have been afforded the opportunity to travel to India. And I know what India looks like. And I know the people. I know the feel. I know the smell. I know the warmth, of that country. So I'm able to actually, absolutely. And I know the food as well.
Let's not get started there. This will take another episode to discuss about just food.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm able to actually change perception. So for me, that's the importance of tourism and travel in general. Where young people can actually play is precisely that. Young people right now are very expressive. They're very expressive, and I think for them being part of the travel and tourism industry, it will go a long way in actually ensuring that there's exchange of ideas, exchange of research, exchange of just knowledge. Particularly if you look at what we're trying to do in the MySpace, but also the young people will be able to play an important role because they will make the destination come alive. I don't think there's anybody who can make the destination to come alive, whether it's in India, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's anywhere else. They are able to actually articulate what it is that we've got to sell as destinations. And I'm sure that with India, with 700 million millennials, young people, they are in the forefront of actually telling the world what India is all about. So similarly to South Africa, we believe that our young people are at the center of actually telling the world what South Africa is all about, or what Africa is all about. So that's the I think
I basically feel that millennials should be given the tag of brand ambassador of every destination.
Absolutely.
Just the top of the list for traveling to anywhere.
Absolutely. It doesn't get as authentic as that. I mean, when a young people speaks, it's pure. It's authentic. It's not curated. It's not sugar-coated. It is what it is. And I've traveled to destinations where young people are at the forefront of actually telling the story about culture. As you know, a bit older generation will tell stories about culture differently from a young person. So a young person can actually articulate what culture means, through music, through art, through just curating or just talking about how people live. Correct. So I think they play an important role, and I think that the industry itself plays an important role in ensuring that our young people can play in that space. But most importantly, because of the importance of the sector, they can actually ensure that the sector can contribute further to the economy, more than what we have been doing pre-COVID. Because ultimately, we want development. Ultimately, we want the contribution to the economy. Ultimately, we want to create jobs for the very same young people. So I think this is a sector that gives that opportunity.
It was a very insightful session with you, Sthembiso. I'm literally getting so much information through South Africa. First is Neleswa, now it's you. I am getting ton loads of information about South Africa and how much prepared South Africa is, which is very impressive.
Thank you. And I hope you're going to interact with our exhibitors over the next 2 days. I'm telling you, you'll be blown away. We've brought, you'll be blown away. I mean, we've brought just a combination of experiences. We've brought in tourism, businesses in destination marketing companies. We've brought in provinces, a couple of provinces that we have here in South Africa. So, and we have experiences as well. So I wish you well. Please interact with them. You will be blown away. I'm sure after these 2 days, you would want to come to South Africa because
before that, I want to come to South Africa.
Yes, you would want to come again. Yeah.
Would definitely want to be a part of it. Thank you so much for your episode. It was great having you.
Thank you.
And for all our viewers, thank you for joining us. And for more such travel industry updates, stay tuned. We'll get back to you soon with the 3rd episode and a mega star of some destination. Stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.